Grüezi miteinander und herzlich willkommen bei uns in der Sendung.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our show. About 5,000 to 6,000 diapers are needed by an average child in Switzerland. That is a ton of wet waste. It takes 4 years until a child is dry in our country, but there are still children who have to wear diapers in elementary school. That shouldn't be the case, says developmental educator Rita Messmer. Children actually show us when they have to go, but we have forgotten how to interpret it. Why is that?
Was ist da los?
Das Problem ist, dass wir unsere biologischen Anlagen nicht kennen.
The problem is that we don't know our biological predispositions. We don't know what a baby brings with it and that it needs a certain amount of stimulation. From birth, a baby has everything it needs to let us know when it needs to be held out to relieve itself. That's the term we use. So we just put on diapers because we're told that the baby can't do that yet. The baby just learns to eliminate its waste in diapers. We also learn through experience, and if the experience for the baby is that it always relieves itself in diapers, then it will do that way. What I am saying is nothing new at all. It's only new for the industrialized countries because in all developing countries, all emerging countries, mothers hold out their babies when it's time for them to relieve themselves.
Dann tun die Mütter ihre Babys von Abgeburt abheben.
Wir könnten aber fragen, Natur...
You might ask, are babies dry faster in primitive peoples?
Oder schneller sauber?
Das ist so.
That is so. That is really so. They don't need diapers at all. In fact, they are clean from the very beginning. When these mothers carry their babies in a sling, they don't get filled up all the time. They don't have the washing facilities that we have. They react to the baby's signals. It becomes restless. Perhaps it starts to cry slightly, makes eye contact, whatever signals a baby can give. The mothers see these signals, take the baby out of the sling, hold it over the side of the road or wherever. There it makes its excretions and is wrapped up again afterwards. At night, they don't just wet the crib, they get restless and wake up.
20% of the 5-year-olds in Switzerland still need diapers.
Also wenn's nur 5-Jährige...
If it were only 5-year-olds still needing diapers, that would be just fine. But we sell diapers for 12 to 15-year-olds, up to 57 kilograms, and that should make us realize that we are not quite on the right track with what we are doing with our children.
Let's take a look at exactly how we can do things differently and support the natural development process. Lynn is 6 months old and already sitting on the potty. Not a trick, but the result of a biologically designed, completely natural process. During the so-called sensitive phase of early cleanliness, from the first day of life to the end of the 3rd month, the relevant information flows with ease into the brain and is networked there. Only the stimulating stimulus which is received through the senses and transmitted to the brain leads to the baby's development. In the first 3 months, babies are biologically controlled from within. Hunger, thirst, sleep, babies send signals, trying to tell us from the day that they are born when they need to pee or poop. They do this in many different ways through restlessness, hand, arm, or leg movements, or through sounds, facial expressions, and intense eye contact. Only when this doesn't help, by crying or screaming. Babies learn controlled elimination by holding it. You grab the baby naturally by the buttocks and thighs, support its back with your own body, and hold it off. The brain immediately associates a key sound, such as psst, with elimination. A running faucet also has a stimulating effect. A so-called Asian potty on which the baby can be placed is valuable. It makes sense to offer different options so that the baby doesn't settle on just one way. Holding out also works at the toilet or sink and is less costly than disposable diapers.
When a baby wets its diapers, I have to unwrap it and clean it up. If I stop it right away, I can put the same diaper on again later or wash its bottom under running water. If I stop it by the sink, right away. The parents who do it this way say that it is not more but much less effort.
During the sensitive stage, picking up is best done while breastfeeding, after naps, and during diaper changes. Parents pay attention to the baby's body language and intuition. The baby gets a rhythm and confidence, and the parents get security in dealing with their offspring. Serenity is important. Not every pee needs to be caught. Cloth diapers convey a wetting signal that babies find unpleasant, so cloth diapers encourage learning natural impulse control over excretions. Parents should not put pressure on themselves.
Stress ist absolut kontraproduktiv. Wenn ich Stress habe, habe ich entsprechende Boten.
Stress is absolutely counterproductive. When I am stressed, the baby senses it. And what does it do? It cries and it screams. As soon as we take in food, the digestive system starts working. This is already the case with babies. That's why you can bet that the baby will relieve itself while it is breastfeeding, but it won't relieve itself while it's drinking. It will take a break. And when you know that, that's the signal to be ready and that you will have a portable potty with you. Now you can put the baby on it, take it off, and then continue breastfeeding. Over time, it will settle. Then you may be able to hold off before nursing and then nurse fully, or you may hold off after nursing. Babies do not excrete during sleep. That means they are awake. Therefore, unwrap and hold off first after each sleep. It is clearly visible when a baby excretes. I always notice this in the baby massage courses when I observe a baby. The gaze wanders inward, and that is quite different than when we look outward. When we focus inwardly on something, we have a different gaze, and the baby already has this gaze. I can say, look, now your baby is about to roll over, and voila, that's how it was.
Signals and body language from the parents are read and interpreted by the baby. This encourages the baby to continue communicating. This interaction increases trust in parents, and the baby simply becomes calmer. Miss Messmer, what happens if you miss the sensitive phase?
There is, of course, another way that children learn this as well. This one is just the most natural, the biological way, but those who miss the sensitive phase of the first 3 months should not just wait until the baby gets up one day and says, I don't need a diaper anymore. The brain still knows other ways to learn. It just takes a little bit more effort.
Elimination is a mechanism where there is a connection between the bladder and the brain. Can you explain what exactly goes on there?
Ja, das sieht so aus. Hier haben wir die Blase.
It looks like this. There we have the bladder, and the bladder wall has sensors. These sensors constantly report the degree of fullness to the brain. At about 300 to 350 milliliters for adults, a signal goes to the consciousness. Now your bladder has a certain volume. If I am now near a toilet, then messenger substances are activated. We cannot control this consciously. It is only controlled by the autonomic nervous system. These open the inner bladder muscle. With the external mechanisms, with the external sphincter and the pelvic floor, we can still tense for a short time until we are on the toilet, and then consciously let go and excrete. But the internal sphincter is always tight. In the resting state, when we sleep, etc., this is the normal state, and only when we go to the toilet is it opened purely vegetatively by neurotransmitters. The problem with diaper children is this. They have no impulse control. A signal goes to the brain, the bladder is full or has a certain volume, the brain sends messengers to open the internal sphincter and now pee. With these absorbent diapers, they don't even feel it getting wet. As a result, the brain loses the sense of excretion. The thought, my bladder is full and now I have to, doesn't even enter the consciousness anymore. The brain has learned that one can go anywhere and anytime. This is now the big problem.
How do I learn to hold off if I've missed the sensitive phase?
You can say that from the age of 3, we really have a problem. If I start with a 4 or 6 month old, or even a little later, you stimulate the input through the social nervous system in the sense that, depending on the age, you guide the child, you make it understand what to do. In this sense, it is possible to awaken the appropriate dispositions. Nothing is lost there yet. If possible, leave the children naked so that they can see what is happening if you are in the garden or otherwise have a possibility for them to experience what they are doing.
They have to learn, understand, and experience it. If a baby doesn't learn it now, does it also have to do with the 3-month colics being a problem?
So with 3-month colic, I can really attest to that. I myself did a study on early cleanliness. All parents or mothers confirm, when they learn to hold their babies out to relieve themselves, the colic goes away.
How do young mothers experience their babies when it comes to elimination? We met a round table of women and collected their exciting experiences. I first get information because of my son, so he can get dry. He's 3 years old, so that's my first priority. We also held the little one over the sink or over the toilet, and lo and behold, it worked for her quite easily. Funnily enough, that was exactly the time when the son thought, something's wrong here, isn't it? Why can my little 5-week-old sister pee there, and I can't? From one day to the next, he took off his diaper and went to the potty to pee. My daughter used to say, I'll do it tomorrow then, I'll do it tomorrow then. And I thought to myself, that can't be it. Another problem with her was that she was always constipated. But with the help of the recommended medicine, the syrup as a placebo, she suddenly went regularly and realized that it didn't hurt to go poo-poo. Now it's just normality. When she wakes up, we undress her no matter where we are, then go to the bush or put her on the potty that I always have with me. No matter where, in the parking garage, in the shopping center, many people then look surprised because they hear the corresponding sounds. There came really funny looks first, until they have recognized that my daughter sits on the potty. Their reaction was often, "What? Such a small baby sits already on the potty? That's unbelievable." I think it's really amazing what you can do with cloth diapers. The proper stopping after eating and after sleeping. It's really not a hassle, and really anyone can do it. But you don't just get that information from anyone. That's the main problem. We communicate together. For example, at night, when she sleeps next to me in the side bed, and she cries, gets restless and fidgety, this allows me to understand that she has to eliminate. I hold her out to relieve herself, and then she goes back to sleep. Actually, the children show it to us and we ignore it. This is really crazy. Mrs. Messmer, why is holding out your baby to relieve itself so unknown?
Because we have a false medical doctrine which says that the baby cannot control its excretory organs at all until 18 months. This stage of development is between 18 and 36 months. In the meantime, the back number has been raised to 48 months because the longer the children get, the older they get, and we simply don't know our biological dispositions. We could actually look at it very well with these indigenous and traditional cultures and rediscover that. That's obviously always a difficult step for the Western world.
And it's not as if parents are now being advised to do without diapers completely. Diapers can make sense.
Cloth diapers even make a lot of sense, especially in the beginning. A baby excretes a lot of times. It can be between 20 and 30 times a day, and for all parents who want to manage this without diapers, it is pure stress. Stress for the parents and stress for the baby. Therefore, there are situations where it is quite clear that babies give signals during breastfeeding. That's when we have gastrocolic reflex that we respond to, and then after sleeping, because during sleep, a corresponding hormone makes sure that less urine goes into the bladder. I also pay attention to my intuition, or of course, when I notice the baby's signals. All of this together then settles down. With the existing impulse control, the volume is increased, the bladder can increasingly hold more, and so on. Therefore, in the beginning, diapers are simply for safety as a protection against being filled up until I know the system a bit.
What do you recommend to new parents?
Well, I can simply recommend to them, try it. Just start, because it's a reflex. You can't go wrong. Take the baby and go to the sink or hold it over a basin, and you will see that it is trying to excrete. Help the baby do it. Convey calm, stay calm, hum, sing. And if you respond to the signals that we have discussed in this program, with time and experience comes security. Convey your joy and also the dignity. I always say that this has to do with dignity after all, when you see that the baby has its excretions under control. There is nothing worse for us than when we lose it. Therefore, to feel the joy and to see how babies do and can do, that is probably one of the most touching things that parents can experience with their baby. We have seen that now. To experience that, I can only recommend that to all parents.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Messmer. If you want to know even more about the subject, there's more information on the website. There you will find various links and also literature. Mrs. Messmer has published several books on the subject.
Frau Messmer hat verschiedene Bücher geschrieben. Auch hier finden Sie den Link bei uns auf der Webseite.